Hey y'all. Okay, so I'm back, and today we are talking about travel, of course. Now, today I want to talk to you guys about budgeting. Today I should have actually been in Vegas. That was actually my trip this month in July. I was supposed to go to Vegas this weekend. That did not happen. The event that I was supposed to go for got pushed back a week. So it is what it is. We're moving right along, y'all. So today I want to talk about budgeting. And the reason why I want to talk about budgeting for travel and budgeting for trips is because I get a lot of people who ask me, how are you planning so many trips? How can you afford so many trips? Y'all, I do work. Me and my husband, we both work. We both are employed individuals. So we actually do work a job. Um, and we have a home, we have bills, we have life, we have a child, we buy groceries, we go out to eat, we go to the movies, we live our life. So people always ask me, how do you have time to travel? How do you make your money available for travel, and how do you continue to sustain traveling, living a full life, and of course having full life responsibilities? So that's what I'm going to be actually talking about today. So if you are the person who has issues, or let's say you feel like traveling is not obtainable for you because of, let's say, your financial situation right now, I'm going to give you some travel tips about budgeting so that you can plan a life that will afford you to travel. Like, as for me, I do invest my extra money into travel. That's what I do. And that's just what I do right now with my finances. Any extra money I have, I put it into travel because I love to travel. So we're going to dive right in it today. I don't want to, stretch this video out. I want to make it simple and sweet, straight to the point. So here's my number one traveling tip, regardless of where you're going, regardless of who you're going with, or especially if you're going with a large group that you're financially taking care of. Let's say you have a family and you want to go on a trip with your family. I have a rule. I do $100 a day per person for travel. Meaning, and I know some people are like, well, what if it's a 10-day trip and it's three of us? $100 a day per person for travel. Okay, now check this out. That money is not necessarily for the hotel, for the airplane. That's your spending money. Okay, that's for the food, that's for the activities, that's for the festivities, that's for whatever you needed to happen for in that day. So how it works is, let's say it's me, my husband, and my daughter. Okay, and we go on a 5-day trip. So for me, him, and my daughter, for food, because you got to keep in mind, like I said, it depends on the situation, but for the most part, I kind of keep this budget. If we're going on a trip somewhere, I'm not cooking. I don't care if I got a kitchen, I ain't cooking. Okay. So that means we have to supply breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. And that includes airport snacks. And y'all know that's high. So if we're flying out somewhere, we're at the airport, we're in California, we normally fly out of LAX. We're flying out of LAX. It's let's say a 10 a.m. flight, 9 a.m. flight. We're at the airport pretty early. Of course, we need to get our water because we can't bring it in. So we're getting water. We're getting all of our beverages situated. And somebody's hungry. Normally they are. My husband eats 3 times a day on vacation, regardless of if he eats 3 times a day at home on a regular day. Okay? So, breakfast, lunch, dinner. That $100 a day budget for me, him, and my child, that's $300 that we have for the whole day to do breakfast, lunch, and dinner, including snacks and beverages. Okay? So that budget makes sense. Okay? Now, we're going to move right along. That's my standard tip, y'all. Regardless of anything you get from this video, try to budget $100 per day per person. It always works. Okay? If I do a solo trip, like let's say this weekend I was supposed to go to Vegas, stay at my best friend's house, I didn't need the $100 a day budget. I'm staying at my best friend's house. I'm going to probably eat up her food and snacks. But anyway, number one, when it comes to traveling and budgeting, this is big, y'all. The location. Okay? People make it seem like the location doesn't matter. The location does matter. Let's say it's an expensive place, right? Let's say you're going somewhere, pick a place, it don't matter where, and it's expensive. It's an expensive city. That also comes into play for a tourist. Even if you don't live there, it's still going to be an expensive vacation because it's an expensive destination. When I went to Hawaii a few months ago, they were explaining when we were on one tour, like how milk there, eggs there, it's like $8, $9. That's expensive. So of course it makes the total cost of everything in the area a little bit more for the tourist, just like it'll make it the same for someone who lives there. If the cost is going to be more, okay? So if you pick an expensive place and you know going to that place you might be spending a little bit more than normal because it's very expensive, take that into consideration. The place matters. The time of year matters. Let's say you're going somewhere and it's cold there or whatever, and in the winter in that location it's super cold. So now you need winter accessories. That comes into play when you're planning a trip. What you're going to wear, the shoes. Let's say you're going somewhere where it requires a lot of walking. You're going to need some good walking shoes. If you don't have anything, and if you don't have any shoes, your feet are going to hurt, okay? So I'm just saying things like that. That all comes into play when you are planning a trip. The location has to make sense for your budget at the time. If you're going somewhere and it just is not feasible for your budget, in total actuality, you may want to refrain or plan that trip for a later time when you know the budget will be have some wiggle room and you can afford all aspects of the trip, okay? Another thing to think of, this is what I don't understand, people who don't do this, but you have to save for a trip, okay? I don't care if you're the type of person who's spontaneous. I like to go out. I like to, I don't like to plan. Look, boo, that's why you stay going to somewhere that's right up the road. If you want to catch flights, if you want to go somewhere far, if you want to do something big, you have to save for that. Nobody like living paycheck to paycheck, but nobody like coming home from a trip broke. Okay, so when you go on these spontaneous trips, that's cool if you got it like that. But if you don't got it like that, like realistically, everybody I know, even if you make good money, the smartest thing to do is to save for that trip. So here's another tip that I have for that. This is what I do. You see these envelopes? What's that say? Seattle. I'm going to Seattle in November. I have an envelope for that. Boom. And it's money in there, y'all. Okay? It's money in there. New York in September. You see that? That one's a little thicker right now because this is a couple months. Okay? Money in that. My personal envelope, extra cash. If I have an event coming up, I throw some money in there. Whatever's in there, I could use. Boom. This was a trip I was going on. Right now it's empty. I'm gonna replan this envelope though for something else. See, I just cross out and put something else there because I'm gonna reuse these. I'm going to Tahoe in October. I have my envelope for Tahoe. There's money in that. And I just do normally, like, you can't really see it all that well, but I do the where I'm going in the year. Because like I said, I reuse my little envelopes. And if I need one, I'll just grab another one or whatever. You can kind of see the logo on there. Yes, I did take that from my job. Oh, well. Anyways, that's not the point. The point of it is save your money. Excuse me. And I don't care if you don't make a lot of money, okay? That's why we're discussing budgeting, because a lot of people don't. And even if you do make good money, you still want a budget, right? Because you still want it to make sense for your budget. Now, calculate your budget. If you are the type of person who does not calculate their paycheck, like you just get paid, you go out to eat, you balling out, you pay all your bills, and then at the end of the day, you like, oh, wait, I ain't got no money. That's not making sense. So normally what I do is when I get paid, the day of or the next day, whenever I make it to the bank, I withdraw money and I stuff them in them envelopes for my upcoming trips. So I know for sure I'm putting money towards my vacations every paycheck. Even if it's a minimum of $50, I still do it. No matter what, whatever extra I got, I have to pull and put it towards that because it has to make sense for my budget. I am not the type of person who goes on vacation and relies on other people to pay for me for anything. If you treat me, that's great. But if you ever been on a vacation with me, normally, especially if I plan the vacation, I normally do like, I pick up the tab somewhere. I might cover parking. I might do anything. You never know. But guess what? I have it in my budget to do that. Not only do I do that, on one of my credit cards, I always take an emergency credit card because I mainly spend cash when I go on vacation. I do not like swiping my card. I don't like surprises. I don't like my card being put on hold. I don't like fraud attacks. I don't like none of that. So I really don't even swipe my card when I travel. But I will take an emergency credit card, right? With that emergency credit card, I'll go ahead and utilize that credit card if, like, let's say I want to pay for something that I did not necessarily budget for. I have my emergency credit card for that. That's okay. It's not meant to be used, but it's used in case of an emergency, right? Okay. And normally what I do is, let's say I'm going somewhere and I want to, like when I went last year, I went to Texas. Did I go to Texas? San Antonio, Texas. Yeah, I did. Sorry. I forgot. Okay, so I went to San Antonio last year. And I knew I wanted to go to SeaWorld. Like, I had to go. I don't know why. I live in California, y'all. We got SeaWorld, but I don't know. I was like, I'm going to SeaWorld. When I go to Texas, I gotta go. I did. But what I did, because I knew I was going to SeaWorld, and of course, I'm sticking to my $100 a day budget, I went ahead and bought my ticket for SeaWorld before I left. That's something that you do. Plan some of your activities. I'm not saying stick to a schedule, live by a schedule, but sometimes it's best to have those activities planned and paid for before you go on the trip. So everything that you take with you financially is yours to blow. Have a good time, ball out. You're not worrying like, oh, I gotta buy my ticket for this, or oh, I gotta still pay for that. No, everything's paid for, baby. You living your best life. You're just living it up. You must, I'm telling y'all, budgeting is key. Budgeting is key to live this life, y'all. I'm telling you. People be asking me. I'm giving y'all the answers, okay? So, anyways, yes, plan ahead for your activities, right? Anything you want to do, whether it's a tour you want to go on, book it and pay for it in advance. Whether it's a restaurant, let's say, okay, here's the thing too. Let's say you want to go to a restaurant, it's expensive. You look up the menu, you're like, okay, this gonna cost me like $150 to go here and eat good. Cool. On top of your $100 a day budget, bring the extra $150 for that day, because you're going to an expensive place. So even when I planned my trip for SeaWorld that day, yeah, I did still have my $100 a day, but because I was going to SeaWorld for that day, I took like an extra $50 to $100 or something like that to cover, my little snacks and stuff, because that's pretty much what I got. I wanted to bring my daughter back some souvenirs, so that's pretty much what I did. And so things like that you're able to do. So that's something that you have to keep in mind as well. Okay. Hold on, y'all. Okay. Sorry about that. My husband actually came up in here and was like, oh, babe. He was asking me, when does my daughter start school? So anyways, back to what I was saying. It's best for you to just plan ahead if you know there's going to be an activity that you're going to do where you're going to be spending quite a bit of money, okay? That always happens. Never fails for me. I always do something that I'm going to spend more than what I budgeted for. So I always bring a little extra mad money, backup money, XYZ, okay? Now, when I utilize this daily budget, right, this $100 a day per person, here's the best thing about that budget. I normally come home with money, y'all. I never go somewhere where I come home just flat broke, ain't got nothing but 2 cents. I don't do that. I always come home with some kind of money. So the way I do that, okay, when you're doing the $100 per day budget, let's say the first day you spend $50, right? You eat McDonald's, XYZ, whoever, whatever, I don't know. But you didn't spend a lot of your money. You still have $50 left at the end of the day. You roll that into the next day. So then this day 2 of the vacation, now you got $150 that day. Whatever you have left at the end of that day, you roll it into the next day. That's how that works, y'all. I'm telling you, it's a beautiful, beautiful plan. It works super, super well because it gives you flexibility of finances. It means, guess what? You have money rolling over each day. And let's say you come home and you have all this money left over. Put it back in your savings, or ding, 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 put it towards the next vacation that you have coming up. That works as well. Okay. And my biggest thing too, plan, like I said before, plan for incidentals. If you know anything could go down, if you're one of those people, bring backup money, bring a backup credit card, y'all, because you definitely don't want to be stuck looking crazy. I know someone, we were on vacation, right? This was some years ago. We were on vacation and we were traveling pretty far from where we live or whatever. And I guess they just, they brought their card and their bank card or whatever. And they did not inform the bank. Because, back then you had to inform the bank. I don't know if that's still true. Because like I said, when I travel, I use cash. I don't use my card. So correct me if I'm wrong. But they used to require for you to tell them if you're leaving out of town. Certain banks, not all of them, but certain ones did. if you're leaving out of town, if you're going somewhere far. So when your card gets swiped, it'll get flagged for fraud. Well, they didn't do that, right? So we're out of town or heading out, and we stopped somewhere to get food or gas or something. They swiped the card and it's flagged for fraud. And they froze their card. They froze the card. Even though they called the bank like, hey, it's me. I'm going out of town. What's going on? I can't use my card. They were like, oh, we're so sorry. It's like a 24-hour freeze or 48-hour freeze on there. So unfortunately, there's nothing we can do until the time passes XYZ. Had they had not had extra money, extra cards, extra cash on them, y'all, guess what would have happened? Guess what would have happened? They would have been literally looking crazy because I was like, y'all need some money. Like, and it's not, I'm not laughing at the situation. I mean, I can laugh now, but back then we was just like, oh, because it's like you really, like you could really be stuck somewhere. What are you going to do? My best advice, y'all, $100 a day budget. Save what you can from each paycheck, okay? Sacrifice. If you want to go somewhere, guess what? You make it happen. If you're the type of person you want something done, you do it, you make it happen. This is what it requires. Sacrifice, consistency, a mentality that I can afford this. I will do this. I am going to be a person who sees the world, who travels, who has new experiences. It all requires this, okay? And budget. Budget, y'all. Have a backup plan. Have an incidental plan, okay? Other than that, you guys, this was budgeting tips for travel. You guys be blessed and have a good day. Safe travels.